First kill. Bullseye.
Hey guys, welcome to Braddels Gaming and to another episode of the Far Cry 5 Community Creation Series. In this series, I feature other people's maps on the Far Cry 5 arcade, and in today's video we see another map from Pelican 470. We saw another one of Pelican's maps last week in Omega Garrison, a Blood Dragon inspired Team Deathmatch map, which was a lot of fun and was a very good rendition of Far Cry Blood Dragon. So if you love Blood Dragon, definitely be sure to watch that video if you haven't already. But today, we see a completely different map and gameplay pace from Pelican. This is Gladiator Arena on the Xbox, and one thing that's immediately apparent, as you would have seen from the opening clip, is just how fast-paced and chaotic this map is. It's primarily melee, and I feel like any Far Cry map with a heavy focus on melee is always a really funny map to play. The melee mechanics in Far Cry 5 are a little less serious than its predecessors, however taking a bat or shovel to the face is still going to hurt a lot, but because these mechanics can often feel a little goofy in comparison to a knife takedown, like that in Far Cry 3 or 4, it makes all melee maps in Far Cry 5 almost a parody of itself, which I actually find to be a really good thing. It is after all the Far Cry 5 arcade, and I feel like the game makes that clear as the arcade exists in the Far Cry 5 campaign as a fictional gaming world within the game. But enough of that deep dive. Simply put, this is another really fun melee map in the arcade. But what else does this map do well other than its fast-paced melee combat chaos? As you might notice in the cinematics, there's a lot of terrain variety across the map. I find a lot of Gladiator maps in Far Cry 5 are pretty flat, and that's okay because it's most likely true to its source material, but I love how Pelican has introduced levels of terrain into his map. One great thing you can do in every Far Cry game is a takedown from above, and with all the big rocks around, it's probably the most fun thing you can do on this map. Sure, some of the terrain looks a little rough here and there, as not all the terrain has been smoothed out, but I actually think this is one of those types of maps that doesn't really need to have the most realistic looking terrain, because it just adds so much more to the gameplay. The next pro, and I know it's just a preset sound you can pick, is the addition of the crowd sounds in the background. It really adds weight to the atmosphere of this map as an arena, and when you add all the different animals and all those sounds from the animals, along with all the shovels, it just really complements it all really well and really adds to the chaos of the map, making it feel that much more dynamic. It doesn't take much to add background sounds to a map, but when any creator puts in that extra effort, you know it's going to be a good map most of the time. However, on this, I'd love to see some actual crowd members around the arena. Obviously you can only add so much AI to your map, let alone a multiplayer map, which I don't actually believe gives you the function to add AI characters like humans and stuff into it. But even human corpses around the map, standing up, would look better than just the crowd noise without anyone seemingly tuning in. Now last week I talked about how Pelican's Omega Garrison map, the Blood Dragon map from last week's episode, suffers the same fate in that the score limit is way too high. Even with a map like this one, which is smaller in size and faster pace, the score limit is still too high. I get that some creators might want to keep their maps on for as long as possible, but it actually backfires on you as the creator, especially if you frustrate people in the process that don't want to feel like they're being forced into playing your map for longer than what they feel like it should go on for. With that being said, this is a really fun map, so even though it does go on for probably longer than what some players might expect, I personally enjoy it, but I know not everyone likes these melee maps. Nonetheless, this is still a really cool and fun map to play, so if you're on the Xbox, unfortunately it is only on the Xbox, but if you're on the Xbox, make sure to check it out. But otherwise, this wraps up another episode of the Far Cry 5 Community Creation Series. Feel free to watch the rest of the gameplay highlights. There's definitely some more funny moments to come in the gameplay, so stay tuned. But otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and comment, and subscribe and hit the bell icon if you love Far Cry. You're very welcome to join this Far Cry channel. We'd love to have you here on the journey. But as always, I'm Braddels Gaming. I'm signing out now, and have yourselves a great day.
Sharpshooter. What a shot. Gotcha. Sharpshooter. Bullseye. Victory is imminent.